So these stainless steel pieces are the first thing that goes back on the car. They go on the drip rail, but I don't know if you can see the difference, but I polished this one, and that one's not polished. And it really makes a difference. I mean, it looks shiny if you just saw it like that, but when you look at it like that, much better. So I'm going to do that to both pieces before I put them on. So this stainless steel piece came off the car, and it looks like there was some overspray from a previous paint job. So I could clean it off, but sometimes I just find it easier to just scrub them off. The bottom side of the trim is a brushed aluminum finish, or a brushed stainless steel finish. So it doesn't really hurt it to just use some, not super coarse, but this is like about 320 grit, which is about the same as this brushed bottom of the stainless. So it cleans off the overspray pretty easily once you get in there. So instead of trying to clean it all off, just wet sand it with everything else. My gloves are falling apart, I know, but they just tend to do that. So I'm just trying to make them last through this little project. This shouldn't take it a long time to wet sand. Got this little tray from the home center. It's kind of like a window box tray. Works out really well to just have like a little bit of water with some soap in it. Helps to really helps when you're wet sanding this kind of stuff, because the slurry kind of builds up in the paper, clogs up the paper. So wet sanding really helps to do this type of work. These are the little pieces that you know, it really helps with the overall look of the car restoration wise. I mean, I look at some of these shows sometimes, and they restore these cars, and there's like, you know, they get it done in 2 weeks. Well, I don't think that they're doing any of this stuff, you know, and this is, I think, the difference in what makes a nice restoration where everything looks really nice, as opposed to skipping this kind of work where it can really make a difference. Okay, the big stuff I want to use, find my where is my 1000 grit? All right, well, I'll have to use this. This is 1500. Oh, there it is. That's what I'm looking for. So this is my 1500 grit, and that's what I'm going to get on the face of this, because this is the part that I'm going to polish. So I don't want to put deep scratches in the stainless because it doesn't need it. So what I'm going to do is just take all these fine scratches out of the face of it, because this face of it is what's going to be polished to a high shine. So I'm just taking all the little scratches out of it. If I see anything really deep, I will use coarser sandpaper, but I don't think it needs it. I think it just needs a good even sand on the face of it, just so it evens it out, because that'll polish up really nicely. If I don't see anything that's like gouging, and there's no reason to go any further than what we have. Like, for instance, that's just a little bump. You can see how I can just sand it, and it'll take most of those imperfections out. Well, let's see how it looks when it buffs out. So on the buffer, I'm going to dress this a little bit. Let's do the back side first. So you can see how that's kind of like your polished, brushed finish. All right, so now we're going to get into the real polishing. So what I'm going to do, get a little bit more compound on here. Doesn't need much, because it's not that scratched up. Also, stainless steel is really hard stuff, so it doesn't scratch that easily. I mean, it gets little scratches, but it polishes up pretty well. The trick is just not to get the machine to catch the part you're holding. So years ago, when I was polishing my own stainless steel trim on my car, I was doing the same thing, but on a much narrower piece. And all it took was 1 second of concentration that I lost, and the machine caught the piece and bent it into a pretzel, or bent it pretty badly. And obviously stainless steel is, like I said, it's pretty stiff. So when it bends, it's really hard to get it back. And I ended up throwing that piece away and buying and finding another one to replace it, because it was pretty much bent beyond repair. So I'm always really trying to be careful when I'm doing this stuff. In fact, I kind of, you can hear me almost stop talking when I'm actually paying attention. Because it's really easy to lose concentration and then catch it in the buffer. So, you know, look, this is like boring, monotonous work, but still got to pay attention. Then the little add is just going to do this top edge. Make sure that's nice and shiny, because that's what you're going to see when you get up on the car. Also this leading edge. That's looking pretty good. All right, we'll wipe this down, take a closer look. I think we're ready to put it on the car. I installed the drip rail. It's all installed with a lot of dust around. You'll see all this sanding, because this drip rail was the edge that this thing slid onto was a little thick, so I had to file and sand some of that off. So that's why you're seeing all this sanding. You know, I masked it all off, and so I took a file and took some of that paint off, and then primered it after I put it in, and so it wouldn't rust. But I just had to take some of, I mean, even though it was carefully done by the painter, it still had it was a little thick to get this on there. And then this secures underneath with these little screws, so I had to just get them to kind of line up and slide in and screw them in. But both sides are in. The other side went in really well. In fact, it didn't take much filing and sanding at all. So it just goes to show you that, you know, so each car is different. Well, like one side goes in really hard, the other side goes in really easily. But that's the first piece of chrome that needs to go in before. It's not the first. It's definitely has to go on first before anything else kind of goes in. As far as the doors, the window frames, it's just a lot easier, to put that one in, and then now I can work on getting the rear quarter windows in and everything else. So technically, yeah, it's the first piece of chrome that goes in, or the first piece of it's polished stainless that goes in, and we move on to the next step that goes back on this car. I got a favor to ask. I've been doing videos every week for about 2 years now, and this channel's been around for several years with videos that I uploaded through the years, but I really gave it a strong effort in the last couple of years to really put up some content. And it's been a lot of fun. Met new people that found me only through YouTube, didn't know anything about the blog, the tomyangnet blog that's been around for 20 some odd years. But at the same time, it's been great to meet new people on this platform. The only thing that I'm asking for is just, if you like what you see, put a like and a comment or subscribe. I think that just kind of helps. I mean, as much as every channel out there says the same thing, I think that it would be great to get more people who are like-minded and like to see this kind of stuff. And if you're watching it and watch it every week, then, tell me that you do and like it. And that way, people who watch will hear about more of it. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.